West Denver. Sleep deprived and heavily caffeinated.
All right, let's do this then.
This is the Jeff and Bill Show.
I don't agree with that.
They don't always agree, but hey, at least they have coffee.
Coffee.
And each other.
I love you, man.
God help us.
I want to bless him. We need all the help we can get.
Now here's Jeff Hunt and Bill Thorpe. The Jeff and Bill Show on News Talk 710 KNUS.
It is 8 a.m. in the Mile High City on this Tuesday, October 21st, 2025. Good morning, Denver, Colorado. You've tuned in to the Jeff and Bill Show, News Talk 710 KNUS. I'm your co-host, Jeff Hunt, along with Bill Thorpe, bringing you the freshest insights, hottest takes from the right, left, and center. Coming up this hour, we're going to talk with Representative Jarvis Caldwell. Democrats going, there's no crime problem in Denver. What are you talking about? Deep saying Badesha, tweeting out yesterday, there can't be a single person in America who still thinks Denver is one of the most dangerous cities after watching the season of Love is Blind. Also, it's a straight lie that we rank in any top 10 on any current list. Really? Well, U.S. News and World Report ranks Colorado number 49 out of 50 for public safety. So who's right? Is Denver experiencing a crime wave? Serious crime problems? Or it's peaceful? This is traditional big city issues. Don't get so worked up about it. We're going to talk with the House Minority Leader for the state of Colorado, Jarvis Caldwell, coming up. Now is time, though, for news and comment with Blake Olson.
Blake Olson.
Blake Olson, news and comment.
Good Tuesday morning, 35 and sunny, expecting a high of 69 today. News sponsored by Pastor Camp Heating and Air Conditioning at 303-777-1234 to learn more about special savings opportunities on Lennox equipment. Our top story, the government shutdown, is now 3 weeks old, the second longest in U.S. history. Another vote in the Senate failed to end the shutdown Monday. No votes are scheduled for today, but Senate Republicans will be having lunch at the White House, where DJT is expected to thank them for keeping a unified front. 47 is getting the go-ahead to deploy National Guard troops in Portland. The Ninth Circuit of Appeals ruled Monday that the presidential determinations are not reviewable by federal courts. Last night on CNN, they're still outraged over the AI video of King DJT dumping Harry Sisson with excrement. Scott Jennings.
Well, yeah, he was making a point. I mean, why shouldn't the president use a made-up video to respond to a rally that has a made-up reason? I mean, it's a non-existent reason. We don't have a monarchy in this country. We have a presidency won by Donald Trump, who won the popular vote, who won the Electoral College, who won all the swing states. We have a democracy. People voted, and they elected the president, and the only thing they're mad about is that he is lawfully executing the office of the presidency and enforcing laws that have been on the books for a long time. So he made up a video, they made up a reason to have a rally, and I think it was kind of funny, to be honest with you.
VPJD is in Israel for a two-day visit. Vance's visit comes after Hamas returned the body of another dead hostage to Israel. The remains of 15 more are still believed to be held by Hamas inside Gaza, and DJT saying that numerous Middle Eastern countries are on standby to eliminate Hamas in a manner that is fast, furious, and brutal if Hamas continues to act up. Virginia Roberts Giuffre's posthumous memoir is out today, Nobody's Girl, a memoir of surviving abuse and fighting for justice. Details how she was groomed as a teenager as a victim of Epstein and other men. Giuffre completed the book before her death by suicide, allegedly. In April of this year, she was only 41 years old.
I have not read the book. I read the Free Press's coverage of the book. And
is that right? Disturbing.
Oh, my gosh. I mean, it starts with her dad.
Yeah, I've heard that.
It starts
story
with
before.
her dad, and then she's just, for the rest of her life, passed around. It's just heartbreaking. Just terrible. So
it is. No doubt. Yeah, over the years, I've heard 2 or 3 interviews with her, and it's just heartbreaking.
They talk about a former prime minister that has essentially raped her to the point of violence, but they didn't name the prime minister. Yeah. Do you know which one that was?
Exactly.
Do you know?
I do not.
I don't. I don't know who that is.
No, I don't.
Yeah. Goodness. Well,
I can't. I think I had heard someone say who it was, but I'm not certain. It's just, it's horrible. The whole thing is disgusting.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. It's going to be a tough read, no doubt. All right, Dr. Andrew Huff on Tucker last night was COVID-19 engineered so that certain groups were immune?
There was a finding in a scientific publication that two different populations of people of Jewish ancestry, depending which line they're from, where one was more heavily impacted than the other. Mm-hmm. And that was
Sephardic Ashkenazi.
Yes.
Basically.
And that was the finding. And I think the point that he was trying to make, or maybe didn't articulate well, is that the agent can be tailored to have that effect. And that's absolutely true. And that's true.
So RFK Jr. said that, I think, 2 years ago. Interesting. NFL last night, Seahawks over the Texans. Lions dominate the Bucks. The World Series is set. The Blue Jays will take on Shohei Ohtani. And the Dodgers, game 1 Friday night in Toronto. Avalanche at the Utah Mammoth tonight. Nuggets tip off the season Thursday at Golden State. The NBA actually gets going tonight. CSU Athletic Director John Weber had a press conference talking about the firing of head coach Jay Norvell. They started 2-5. That's the bottom line. And you can hear every explanation in the world. The bottom line in college football now, if you don't win in 2.5 years, 3 years, you're gone. That's basically how it works in Division I football. Big business. 31 in Centennial, 30 in Superior, 33 in Denver. Jeff and Billy continue. Blake Olson, News Talk, 710 KNUS.
We'll string together a couple of really nice-looking days for Denver in the Front Range with sunny to partly sunny skies and fair weather conditions today and fair weather conditions tomorrow. Daytime highs will be in the 60s to near 70 today, mid to upper 60s Wednesday. Lows tonight and lows tomorrow night will be in the 30s to near 40 degrees. We're expecting a small chance for a few showers Thursday and Thursday night as a small system moves through. Temperatures will stay in the 60s Thursday and Friday, nights in the lower 40s. Fair Friday and Saturday. Meteorologist Don Day in the 710 KNUS Weather Center.
One of the most intriguing things I've found about Democrats when I interview them is this kind of ostrich head in the sand take on crime in Colorado. No, it's not a problem. What are you talking about? Things are doing great. Deep Sang Badesha, regular guest of the show, co-hosted with me last week, tweeting out yesterday. There's not a single person in America who thinks Denver is one of the most dangerous cities, especially after watching this season of Love is Blind. I haven't watched Love is Blind. Are you a Love is Blind watcher?
No,
I'm not.
I'm not.
So I don't know what he's talking about. But
I don't either. Yeah.
He says it's also just a straight lie that Denver ranks in the top 10 on any current list. And he's responding to Gabe Evans, pointing out that we have Tren de Aragua problems. We're one of the most dangerous cities. We are, I found this wild. We're number 3 for bank robberies in number.
That's crazy.
Not per capita. In number, next to California and Illinois, which have slightly larger populations than us.
Just a wee bit.
And then the Colorado House Republicans pointing out that U.S. News and World Report ranks Colorado number 49 out of 50 for public safety. What is going on? Is there a crime issue? Maybe the Republicans are just making it all up. Well, joining us to give us some insight and comment is Representative Jarvis Caldwell. He's the Colorado House Minority Leader. It means he's the top Republican in the Colorado House of Representatives. Good morning, Representative. Thank you for joining us.
Yeah, thank you.
Hey, good morning, guys. Any chance I get to join Colorado's handing homes, I'm happy to do it. I will say,
hey, Jarvis, we're going to call you right back. We got a little bit of a connection issue. Meanwhile, I'm going to talk to you about Gyrie's here real quick. We went to Gyrie's recently. My wife and I did. Location in Parker. Had a fantastic experience. We got to sit down with their professional designer, and they showed us an incredible selection of Hunter Douglas custom blinds, shades, and shutters. My wife my wife loved it. I was a little overwhelmed at first because I've never worked with a professional designer. My wife got to ask lots of questions, and they walked us through everything, helped us find the perfect options to enhance the look and functionality of our space. So whether your curtains are clashing or you just want a fresh look, Gyrie's has the solutions for you. Their designers are the experts, and they can help you with everything from window treatments to full room decor. Here's the best part. They offer a personalized in-home consultation. That means they'll come directly to you. So you can get the same expert advice right in your own home as we got. We have remote control blinds now. It's absolutely fantastic. We love it. Do yourself a favor. Get started today. Visit Gyrie's.com to schedule your in-home consultation. GUIRYS.com. GUIRYS.com. Go see the great people at Gyrie's. You'll be sure to thank me. Bill, how are we doing? Do we need a moment? We're having some technical issues. Okay, we're going to go to a break. We'll be back and see if we can get the phones working. You're listening to The Jeff and Bill Show.
This is 710 KNUS.
Wake up, Denver. There's no better place to start your morning than IHOP, where the pancakes are fluffy, the coffee is hot, and the smiles are endless. Wednesday, October 22nd, join Jeff and Bill as they broadcast their show live from IHOP at 9565 South University Boulevard in Highlands Ranch. You're officially invited to be part of the excitement. Come grab your favorite breakfast and watch the Jeff and Bill Show in action from 6 to 10 a.m. Don't forget to try the special Jeff and Bill breakfast. Pancakes, any style eggs, and crispy bacon, all for just $7.10. It's a deal as good as their hot takes. All they need is you. Bring your appetite, bring your friends, and kick off your day with great food and great conversation. See you Wednesday, October 22nd at IHOP.
Welcome back to the Jeff and Bill Show. I think we've got some of our technical difficulties worked out, but joining us now is House Minority Leader Jarvis Caldwell. Good morning, Representative. Thank you for joining the Jeff and Bill Show.
Hey, gentlemen, I really appreciate it. Any chance I get to go on Colorado's Hannity and Combs show, I'm happy to do it.
That's right. That's right. Thank you, brother. So, look, I've run into this over and over again. It's not just Deep saying Bodacious tweet yesterday. I asked Ted Trimpa this on Monday when he co-hosted. I was like, what are you guys doing about the crime issue? I mean, isn't this an issue you're taking more seriously and coming up with plans to address? And the progressives and Democrats just look at me like, what are you talking about? Like, there's no crime issue. Yeah, sure, cities have problems, but nothing unique. Denver's fine. What's your response, Representative Caldwell?
Well, I do go deep on a personal level from the Capitol, and he's a nice guy, but I think his love for progressive politics has blinded him to the realities. If you
I think we're having technical issues on our end. He sounded great for a while, but it must be some of the computer stuff.
It's the computer stuff that is the trunk line. It's no longer a trunk line anymore, but it's the system that is coming into our facility that is not doing well today. This is curse word.
Well, we'll try to maybe get him back later this week.
Later. I'm so sorry.
It is a tech issue on our end. Well, we probably can't take anybody's calls today, can we? I mean, not just his.
We can try and we'll see what happens.
Yeah. All right.
Dang it, thought we had that. Because we were trying to work around the system that was doing here, and it was clean beforehand. I could hear him, everything was fine, and
then we got the clicks and the clips and all this stuff. All right.
Technology's wonderful.
Bill and I will pivot here a little bit. I mean, I saw this decision come down yesterday that has to do with ICE bails. This was fascinating. Okay. So, judge here in Colorado, joining a wave of similar rulings across the country, a federal judge in Denver has ordered the release of a man held for 5 months in Aurora's detention center and ruled that federal immigration authorities' new policy of denying bail to longtime undocumented residents of the United States likely violates federal law. This is coming from the Denver Post. The ruling, released Friday night, also temporarily prohibits federal immigration authorities from deporting or transferring that man. His name, Nestor Gutierrez, and similar immigrants without legal status currently being detained in Colorado. U.S. District Court Judge Regina Rodriguez's order appears to apply to detained immigrants who've lived in the U.S. for years and who, for more than 2 decades, would have been able to seek temporary release while their immigration cases play out. Her order prevents the transfers or deportations while the rest of the lawsuit continues. So they get to stay here in America, they get out on bail, and will go through the legal process of deporting somebody who's here illegally. Man, America, so generous. As immigration arrests have surged and detention centers have swelled, the Trump administration this year unilaterally directed immigration courts to reinterpret long-standing federal law and to stop granting bail hearings for longtime residents. Immigration attorneys and advocates have argued that the policy is intended to keep immigrants detained to encourage them to either request their own removal, so there's a way to get out, or stop fighting their deportation order. During court proceedings in Aurora this month, a Denver Post reporter watched several detainees request their own removal. Wow. Imagine that. So controversial, you just leave the country that you're not here legally in. So wild and controversial. Some have previously filed asylum claims or said they feared returning to their home countries, but chose to stop fighting their cases in order to end their detention. So, look, you've been here a long time. You've been here illegally a long time. Understand, you've probably put roots down into this country that you're not supposed to be in. But understand, you put some roots down. Okay, so you get swept up by ICE. You have an option. You can quickly go home. Easily go home. Right? They'll even give you $1,000. They'll buy the plane ticket for you to go home. But you want to stay and fight. Okay, Trump administration saying, we're going to keep you detained. You've already proven that borders don't matter to you. Rule of law doesn't matter to you. We're going to keep you detained. But no, the progressive judges, they want you out on bail. And we know how well that works in Colorado to keep you from
Jeff,
doing bad things.
Hate to interrupt, but I do want to interrupt. I think we can try Jarvis Caldwell one more time. I think. I'm trying a totally different technological way to weave this through. Let's
You
hold our
want to
breath.
try?
Yeah,
All right.
let's see what happens. Let's just see.
Will you give him a call and see?
Actually, it should be right now. Let's see if he hears us. Hey, Representative Caldwell, do you
Can
hear
you
us?
gentlemen hear me?
Oh my gosh! There it is.
sir.
Okay, I'm going to hold my breath to see if this thing stays steady. So we'll see what
All
happens.
right. So we've got phones. We found a way to bounce it off of some Russian satellites, and we've got Jarvis Caldwell here. Well done. Representative, we'll get back to this case regarding bail for illegal immigrants in Colorado, but let's get to the larger issue of crime. Does Colorado have a crime problem?
Yeah, so I think Deep's love for progressive politics has blinded him to the realities that everybody else sees. You were talking about bail, and we ran a bill to take away probation for child rapists in Colorado, and unfortunately, the Democrats in House Judiciary killed it. And they said because when people go to prison, they turn into worse people. And so that's why we shouldn't put child rapists in prison, which is a pretty wild take considering, how does it really get much worse than a child rapist? And if prisons aren't made for that, then what are they made for? But that's kind of what we're working with here at the Capitol, that mindset.
I like the idea that prison's an awful place. You watch these criminals come out and they're like, I don't ever want to go back to that place. I'm like, yeah, I know. I've known folks that have had to go in and the strip search is demeaning. It's terrible. It's not a fun place. The food's terrible. Look, obviously I don't want people living in inhumane conditions, but, it seems to me that it's healthy for society if the prison experience is a way to keep people from wanting to go back into it, right? Like maybe restrain people from wanting to commit other crimes. Your thoughts?
Yeah, absolutely. You're supposed to be incentivized to not go to prison, right? Because it is a bad place. And don't get me wrong, like I'm all for rehabilitative efforts and getting people education while they're in there so they go back into society and they're productive members of society so they don't go back. But, as a representative, my number one goal is to keep the innocent people who are not committing the crimes safe, first and foremost. And so if you need to go to prison to keep the rest of the people safe, then that's fine. And then let's talk about rehabilitative efforts, but protect the innocent people first. And then let's talk about other efforts.
That's Representative Jarvis Caldwell. He serves as the House Minority Leader. That's the top Republican in the Colorado House of Representatives. Now, Denver requires people visiting it to thrive. Half of its revenue comes from sales tax. Here's AI overview of Denver sales tax revenue has decreased and is not rising at the level that it used to and necessary for it to do all of its little progressive programs. So if people from Highlands Ranch, Cherry Hills, Arvada, Boulder, nice parts of town, people with disposable income, they don't come to the city of Denver, then Denver doesn't get its sales tax. It can't run its programs. That's in part why you're seeing its massive budget deficit, $200+ million. Okay? To me, that sends a very clear signal that people don't trust the city of Denver to be a safe place. If people without disposable income aren't going to the city, then why is it? Is it because the food options are terrible? No, they got some great food options down there. Is it because the entertainment's terrible? No, they've got wonderful entertainment. We've got great sports teams. We've got all this stuff happening. Why aren't people going to Denver? For me, it's crystal clear. It's the crime issue. Yet Democrats don't seem to want to address it or even acknowledge that it exists. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, here's the thing is people don't have to go to certain places, right, for entertainment if other places are offering it. And I think that's why you see places like Douglas County doing so well, because you got Sheriff Darren Weekly down there who's like, hey, if you're going to commit crimes, don't come here because, you know, we will arrest you. And then you have George Brockler saying, and we will prosecute you. And those places are more appealing now, which is why they're expanding the way they are, because people have options, right? I kind of think of, you know, the whole Bud Light thing. And it's like, hey, people don't have to drink your beer. There's other options, and they're going to take those other options, you know, if you're not appealing to them. And I think that's what we're seeing right now with Denver. People are just going to go elsewhere, and the city's going to suffer for it, unfortunately.
And this seems to me for Republicans and conservatives a critical issue, because we have lost suburban women as a voting bloc for our party. I'm a Republican, you're a Republican. They used to be kind of Mitt Romney supporters, but for whatever reason, they seem to have gotten a lot more progressive. Douglas County, for instance, has shifted 20 points. This, to me, seems like a really important message for Republicans, because no matter what you may feel about social issues, Donald Trump's personality, white guilt, whatever it might be that's made you a progressive, safety, particularly the safety of your neighborhoods and your children and your kids' schools, is paramount. As you pointed out, Darren Weekly, George Brockler going, no, you're a criminal. We're putting you in jail. In fact, Darren Weekly was telling me the other day, 80% of the inmates in his county jail aren't from Douglas County. So they're running around doing crime. Then they happen to come through Douglas County. Darren Weekly's there to pick them up. So Weekly, Brockler, tough on crime, making communities safe. Do you think that eventually that difference between Denver, Arapahoe County, and Douglas County is going to start to play itself out, Jeffco, with how conservatives are responding to crime versus progressives?
Absolutely. I mean, even down here in El Paso County where I'm at, you know, we have DA Michael Allen, we have Sheriff Joe Roybal, and they're very much like Weekly and Brockler. They're tough on crime, and they're like, hey, don't come here and commit your crimes because you will go to jail. And unfortunately, again, because Denver is a great place, they're going to have to suffer for it by lost revenue, and then they're not going to be able to, you know, pay their bills. And unfortunately, it's just going to keep cascading. And so, you know, great for other areas, but bad for Denver. You got to turn it around. If you don't have a safe society, then you don't really have a society, right? Because you just can't, you don't feel safe going about your daily life, taking your kids to school, letting your kids play outside, going to work, going to, you know, entertainment events at nighttime. And so if you don't have a safe society, then, you're just going to keep going backwards. And unfortunately, that's what we're seeing in Denver.
Talking with Representative Jarvis Caldwell. He's the House Minority Leader. That means he's the top Republican in the Colorado House of Representatives. Let's talk statewide. Jared Polis, Phil Weiser. All right, so I look at what these guys are doing. Jared Polis is in like his senior year of high school at this point. Dude's totally checked out. He's making videos, dancing around with headphones on. He was at a Diwali celebration recently. Like I had like total Michael Scott Office vibes coming from Jared Polis at the Diwali celebration. But I don't think he cares at all about trying to reduce the crime problems in Colorado. We know Phil Weiser's background, that you had to commit 2 or 3 car thefts before he was going to pick you up. That dude entirely focused on suing Donald Trump. And if, God forbid, you're a state trooper or trooper up in Mesa County that notifies ICE of an illegal immigrant, well, they're going to bring down the hammer on you. But statewide, I don't see Phil Weiser, Jared Polis, one, noticing that Colorado is a crime problem, or even concerned to address it at all? Your thoughts?
Well, I've thought about this a lot because a lot of times when you have a governor going into his last year in office, a lot of people think that you're just going to get a lame duck. What I actually worry about is that Jared Polis kind of goes all out. I don't know if he still has presidential ambitions, but what I'm really concerned about is, leaving a legacy because, after all, he did lose his bridge over Colfax or wherever it was. And so he needs some other kind of legacy. What does that look like? Does that look like environmental? Does that look like, a crackdown on energy policies? I don't know yet. So I don't want to be complacent and say that, well, he's on his way out. He's a lame duck, because it could be quite the opposite of that. And that's what I'm worried about.
What about Phil Weiser? Guy wants to be the next governor, has built his entire campaign around Donald Trump, fighting Donald Trump. Donald Trump is a worse enemy to Phil Weiser than any criminal in Colorado. This guy could be the next governor. I mean, and according to Deep Singh Badesha's winning in all these Democrat polls, these internal polls and rooms, there's more energy behind Weiser than there is Michael Bennett, particularly because of the fact he's so opposed to Donald Trump. Your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, it's like, guys, get your own platforms, please. Like, run on something, stand for something, stand for cracking down on crime, stand for lowering cost of living. Don't just run as I hate Donald Trump. I saw Jenna Griswold's tweet the other day about no kings. And it's like, that's really rich coming from you, considering you tried to remove President Donald Trump from the ballot and got slapped down 9-0 by the Supreme Court. And then, you're going to get out there and tout that you're fighting against kings. I mean, it's all ridiculous. It's all political theater. And the next governor needs to stand for something and not just be anti-Trump.
That's Jarvis Caldwell, House Minority Leader. Text messages coming in. I do fear Denver. I want to go see The Lion King at the Buell Theater, Cirque du Soleil, the Ball Arena, even comedy clubs. They think they can just throw money making new Denver things like 16th Street. But bottom line, it's unsafe. Even taking an Uber down there, smash and grab robberies. Police look the other way when people riot and vandalize. You need people with disposable income to go to the city. I think addressing crime should be the top priority. Make it crazy safe. In my opinion, I've called for it. Bring in the National Guard. We saw crime drop in Washington, D.C. I didn't see massive civil rights violations. No one's checking papers, to go down and visit. They basically stood around, but just having them there deterred crime. I think Mike Johnston should invite the National Guard down. What do you think?
I just think he should do his dang job and handle it at his level. He has the resources to handle it. I don't know if he has the will to handle it. But, the reality is it's the job of the president to protect the country. And if the Democrats in power are failing to do it, then you know what? It might be last resort, but you got to do what you got to do to keep the people safe if the local electeds aren't doing it.
6858 went to the beer fest the other weekend. Downtown was a ghost town. Yep, I agree. I've walked down there too, and it's a lot of empty buildings. I mean, they can't even get the Denver Post building to have occupancy. The people there aren't paying the bills. So tell us how Republicans seize this moment and provide a stronger vision for a safer Colorado. Representative Jarvis Caldwell.
Yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, the crime and cost of living are the two big things that we're focused on right now, because it is just such an issue at the forefront of everyone's mind. You're going to see some crime-related bills, cracking down on crime, coming from the Republicans in this upcoming session. I personally am going to be a part of at least 2 or 3 of them. We're going to have a strong Judiciary Committee, and we're going to do what we did this past session, which is highlighting the craziness of House Judiciary. That's kind of where my bread and butter was this past session, was just exposing how ridiculous House Judiciary is and pointing to people and saying, listen, this is why we have a crime problem here, because it takes an act of God to get a bill through House Judiciary that actually cracks down on crime, because the most radical left people in the entire legislature sit on House Judiciary, and a very far left member chairs the committee. And so if you want to know why there's no improvements here, at least from the state level with our laws, It's because it can't make it through one single committee. Now, if it makes it through that committee and it goes to the main House floor, it'll pass with flying colors. Getting it through that committee is the fight.
It's Representative Jarvis Caldwell doing his best down at the Colorado State Capitol to hold Democrats accountable for their weak on crime policies. One big thing that I think, need to address here in Colorado are these judges. I think the left figured out that a little bit of money to get the judges in and keep them in, with a Democrat governor, meant that they could have real big control over the policies that are being implemented in our communities. And nobody, even when they have this bizarre judge review process, and even when that happens and they're like, don't retain this judge, people are like, vote to retain judges. Do we need to do a better job of getting some of these bad judges out? But if we have a Democrat governor, are we just going to replace them with other progressive judges? What do we do about these judges in your mind?
No, you know what? I completely agree. We need to do a better job of highlighting what judges are failing to protect people and doing such a bad job. And, I fall into that trap too. When I get my ballot and I see all these judges, I'm like, I might know who a couple of them are, but, it's as plugged into politics as I am. If I have a hard time knowing it, then, your average person just working hard, trying to raise their family and pay the bills, probably definitely don't know who these judges are. So, maybe that's an area that we need to focus on and put out a voter guide, if you will, and actually track some of these horrible decisions by these judges.
And then you need a conservative governor that can replace them. That's why that race is so important, because you put Phil Weiser back in and you're going to continue to get these soft on crime policies. It stems from the progressive worldview. They put their head in the sand. They're not acknowledging the crime problems. When good lawmakers try to bring up laws to hold criminals accountable, they're shot down at the state capitol regularly. And then Democrat governors put in these progressive judges. The whole system is meant to put criminals first, put victims and citizens second. It needs to be addressed, and Colorado voters need to wake up to it. That's Jarvis Caldwell, House Minority Leader, joining the Jeff and Bill Show. Thank you so much for working through the technical issues. We sure appreciate your time today, Representative Caldwell.
I appreciate you guys. Thanks for sticking with me here. I appreciate it.
All right, we'll continue. Would love to hear from you. Join the conversation. Is crime a real issue in the state? Democrats continue to say no. You got the governor dancing around with headphones on, not coming up with any solutions on this. Phil Weiser thinks that the top criminal to take on is Donald Trump, not anybody that's actually going to affect your life in a negative way. So give us a call, 303-696-1971. Text us on the Dan Caplis Law text line, 720-819-5115. You're listening to The Jeff and Bill Show.
This is Denver's Talk Leader, News Talk 710 KNUS.
All right, Bill, I want to go back to this story and get your thoughts on this. Colorado judge says ICE likely violates federal law by denying immigrants bail hearings. So these are the ones that have been around for 20 years. And Trump administration going, one way we can force your hand to want to leave without having to go through a long trial process is by reducing bail or eliminating bail. So you get picked up by ICE, put in a detention center, you can leave. But it's going to be via a plane to another country. Or we could go through a trial. And if you want to go through the trial, you are going to sit in the processing center until that trial's done. What are your thoughts on that?
I'm somewhat curious. One, the idea that just blanket, because we've accused you of this crime, it's no longer bail eligible. I find that curious, because if that's the case, what other crimes could we potentially, based on our politics or the way the wind blowing is the time, do that as well? That's where I don't like slippery slope arguments, but I'm just saying if we can apply it here and we make it policy, can we then cross apply it in other places? The other part is what I'm a little bit surprised at is that it seems that what the solution being proposed is something that is more costly to the American taxpayer. And that would mean hanging on to the individual potentially for years, depending again on what they're accused of. And the other part I've got is looking at the structure of the bail, and just like with criminal defendants in other situations, what are we looking at? Like, if someone has crossed into America illegally and has no other violations, but the administration wants them out, why does it make any sense at all to hold that person without bail, given their history here? Now, if you're talking about someone that is a member of TDA and has other things on their rap sheet that they have been accused of or what have you, then I think it's a different conversation. But what worries me is this blanket approach of, because you've done X, we now are going to not allow you to have bail. That seems odd to me, especially in America. I don't understand why that seems to be okay. But I understand why it would make sense, because I don't think that actually the legal process or finding out if these people are even in the country illegally or if they're part of this migrant crime wave that Donald Trump talked about is the point. I think the point is we don't think you should be here. Get out. And in fact, we've seen individuals that have been confronted by ICE that they look Hispanic and they speak Spanish, and because they didn't have their U.S. ID on them, despite being citizens, they've been arrested and detained for a while. So if we're not going to involve bail or anything else, at one point, do we just do have the argument from the administration? We need to have judicious expatriation of these people immediately. We just need to move them out. A actual trial or a hearing, that gets in the way. That makes it less efficient for us. So we should just decide who's illegal, say they are, and then get them out of here. That's the thing that it seems that what we're trying to do is break down the process of the due process that we have here.
So in some cases, yeah, I mean, you're literally just thrown back over on the other side of the border. So you do have people that come constantly, violate the border laws, right? And the United States isn't going to put you through a trial on your 20th time that you've been busted for crossing the border. You're not going to get an attorney. You're going to be thrown back in the truck and driven back to the other side, okay? So in some capacities, yes, that takes place. But you're dealing with people that have already demonstrated, laws, rules, they're for suckers. I mean, we didn't follow the rules to get here in the first place. So, bail? Requirements to show up for a trial? Ha! Suckers. I'm going back to live underground. So, I understand why the Trump administration's like, you get popped, we're going to keep you until the trial's done. There is a way out. Oh, there's an easy way out. In fact, we'll buy you the plane ticket. You just get on the plane and fly back to your country of origin. Doesn't seem all that humane to me, dealing with people that have clearly demonstrated they already don't follow the rules. So that's my thoughts on that. Do you have a question?
Yeah, the thing I've got is that if we're talking about, then again, in what I would say is the most banal example, just the person that crossed the border illegally and then could have been here for years without committing any other crime, can we then come to the conclusion that they don't care about following the rules of the law? Because the predominant time they have spent in the country, they've followed the law. So I'm not certain that argument holds, that just because you cross the border illegally, it makes you a lifelong criminal. I think your behavior demonstrates that, and that's what I'm talking about. I think there is a gradient here of individuals, but this policy seems to push towards no gradient at all. The fact that we want to deny bail for everybody, and it doesn't matter. And I think it's in part based on what you gave voice to, the idea that, well, once you cross the border illegally, don't care. We don't care what you do afterwards. All of that is completely and totally irrelevant. If you go around human trafficking, go around raping, stealing, it doesn't matter. If you go around working and just maybe under the table or even with a stolen card or whatever it is for years and not committing any of the crimes, you're the same person. We will view you and treat you the same way. That to me is questionable. And I don't see why. Oh,
because
absolutely.
To me, the issue is the same. You shouldn't be here. It's not that hard.
Isn't the issue...
You broke the rules. You didn't follow them. You shouldn't be here in the first place. Now, granted, it's exasperated in this, or exasperated. Goodness, it's Tuesday morning. My brain's still waking up. But it's if you're running around committing very serious, violent crimes, then it's very, very clear you shouldn't be here in the first place. But if you shouldn't be here in the first place, you shouldn't be here in the first place. It's that simple to me.
Do they qualify then as this dangerous criminal? Are they part of the migrant crime wave? Because I disagree that if someone crosses the border and doesn't do any other crime afterwards, they become part of this dangerous migrant crime wave, because I have yet to see the danger posed by those individuals. I don't see the greater danger to the rest of society if they're not out there doing the crimes, because that's the issue. We have to remove them because they're migrant criminals.
I understand you're jumping to danger.
Yeah.
Should they be here in the first place? I mean, to me, that's the question. That's the question. If you broke the immigration laws, you shouldn't be here in the first place.
Yeah, but I think there are also processes and procedures as far as, asylum claims and other things that happen. And I also think that our immigration system is broken. This is my personal opinion, that it's broken and it incentivizes the illegal immigration because it is so problematic in order to navigate through the system and takes such a long time and can be onerous, especially if you're in certain situations. I wouldn't want to wait 5 to 10 years if I'm worried about what's going to happen to my kids in the community that I'm living in. No, I can see the incentive to want to come here and bring my children, even though they cannot make the decision and bring them here. But they would be viewed as criminals, yet they did nothing necessarily wrong. But yet if they grow up and they're doing, we've seen this time and time again, they haven't done anything other than mom and dad bringing them when they were underage, yet they are lumped into this large migrant crime wave. I think that this is a gradient decision. Deciding and going after this as black and white, I think, is a wrong approach. And the approach of saying, well, are you supposed to be here or not? And now we're going to make the determination. I think that's incorrect. I think there are more things that should be involved.
There is a process. All it did was incentivize cheaters. They're cheaters. They jumped the line. They didn't follow the rules. And yes, the process is difficult for a reason. Because we want to make sure the right people join our country and become American citizens. Those right people are the ones that follow the rules. By skipping ahead, by not following the rules, you are demonstrating to everybody that you don't deserve to be here. That is why I think the Trump administration is right. Put a little pressure. That pressure being you get swept up in these ICE raids, you're going to be detained likely without bail. And if that's the case, you're going to spend considerable time hanging out in a detention center waiting for your trial to come. There's an easy way. Go home. Go home. You have to be very direct and straightforward, because for decades we haven't been, and it's created serious problems for our community. All right, join the conversation. Maybe do our phones work? No,
not a lot.
All right.
No. I don't trust them right now. So
text.
That's
join
great.
the conversation via text 720-819-5115.
Here's the thing. You talked a second ago.
720-819-5115.
You talked a minute ago about the fact that since they've created all sorts of problems for the community. Have they? If they've come here and they haven't committed any of their crimes, is there necessarily a problem in the community? Okay,
you want to go through it? You want to go through it?
Absolutely.
All right. We've got housing cost issues because we have more people here that shouldn't be here.
Wait,
so
I thought,
if they leave, there will be more homes available.
But I thought these were people
will go down.
Not necessarily, and I thought these were people that were living. We always hear about multiple families, that they're the ones breaking these rules about number of people living there. It seems I don't agree with that.
So you'll end up with that. Two, you look at the budget crisis that the city of Denver's facing. They spent $356 million on illegal immigrants. You have Denver citizens without jobs right now because the city thought it would be best to spend money on illegal immigrants via their own citizens.
That's a city. That's a city decision. That's not necessarily applicable across the rest of the state. Nor showing that just because someone's an illegal,
it's very applicable across the state.
Not because someone's just
necessarily
something's necessarily
cost, having to incarcerate these people, all the costs associated with that. You have hundreds of millions of dollars spent in this nation providing services to illegal immigrants. Yes, it's a cost. And then you have the crime of people being raped and murdered that should have never happened because they were here in the first place.
Again, but that is the migrant crime wave. Those are not the people being arrested.
Doesn't matter. Oh yeah,
yes, it does.
Yeah,
yes,
it
does.
Totally being arrested.
Not in a large portion of them. That's not it. That's the portion. Go after those criminals. Fine.
We got to get to a break. You're listening to Jeff and Bill.
710 KNUS.